Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, all. Good evening, all. How are you all doing? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Um, Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? How was your day? My day has been busy. Financial year end, you know as they do. You know as we don't dey enter financial year end, so you can imagine how busy the busy would be. This is our reality. Um, Yeah, I actually saw what's it called? I saw, I saw a news this morning. Sorry, yes, this morning at some point. I saw it this morning, and it just so happened that in United Kingdom we are exploring something similar. The role of we are exploring the impact of social media. So it just so happened that's what we're exploring. So um yeah, and I could not. I just thought, okay, let me come and talk about it because it's what I'm going to talk about it from a professional angle. Well, talk about it as an African parent, but mainly from a professional angle. Um, when I saw the news, I saw the article. It just so happened that I came across the article. So I saw the article, and in my head, the first thing that came to my head was, well, I was reading it, and obviously I felt sorry for the young lads in question. But then I don't know much about the American system. But one thing I know is the American legal system can be quite complex. I think every state have their own autonomy when it comes to criminal justice. And I just so there were two things that popped up for me. Apart from the fact that the twins, so they were twins. They are called Gbadebo. I think it's Gbadebo. Yeah, Gbadebo. They is this yeah. So they are. I think they were born in America. I think they are American citizens, but they were born, and I think they are born. I'm guessing they are probably born and raised in America. I wanted to talk about this, so I'm going to talk about this from three different angles. I saw it on a news feed. Hey, hello, hello, maidens. How are you? I saw it on a news feed, on a news blog, and there was a lot of divide. The news blog I saw it from is actually a Western news blog, and there was a lot of divide there. There were some people. Oh, great, great. There were some people who, and I like the fact that it was I love the fact that it's not an African based blog, because when it's African based blog, the emotions can be thrown around, and sometimes we could lose touch with what the real conversation is. So when I saw it, just like some of the people on the blog were asking, hey, that mom of five, sis, how are you? Ṣàlàáfíà lẹ wà, sis, àwọn ọmọ ńkọ́? When I saw it, it was very interesting because the first question I asked, obviously because the kind of job I do, and I do youth justice. I've had extensive career in youth justice. I was wondering, these boys, the two young boys, so I think they're 20 now at the time that they were caught. But 4 years ago, is it 5 years ago? So they would have been 15 at the time. 5 years ago, according to the news, they were caught up in a robbery, and their perpetrator had stripped them. Okay, Oja won sí òhò, stripped them and got them to used stripped them and video recorded them. Now in the UK, in the United Kingdom, that is a big crime. Okay, that's a crime. And I wondered, um because I'm assuming that because the man that pied, the man that they eventually pied as their victim is well known to the police, is well known to the criminal justice system. So it's not someone that was not known. And I wondered, when he had committed the robbery, and that's why I've titled, is he a system failure? You, of course, the boys eventually made it, well, their men, they made a decision. But then there's also, from what I can see, I can also see system failure. But again, I'm not conversant with the American system. I think I've done like a cross-border adoption. I think I've had like about 3-4 cases in my years of career. I've done 4 cross-border adoption in America, and they're like different states. So there are some states I understand. I mean, the 4 states, obviously, there's a lot of complexity in their system. Social work is not social work in some cases. Like the adoption is quite different. The way adoption is done in America is totally different. But having said that, it still has the same. It still has the same basis. Yeah. So don't let me divert. I mean, that's that. But when it comes to criminal justice, the American system, I am not 100%. It looks very heavy-handed. And I've also seen scenario. That mom of 5, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were in Scotland at the time. There was this couple. She's an American. She's an American, but she was married to a Scottish man. She had a very what's it called? She had a very tough divorce at the time, and the man obviously lured her into the UK. He's British born. I think it's actually from either Aberdeen or Inverness. I can't remember, but he's British born, and I think eventually, I don't know, they made their way to the UK, to Scotland, and the lady. So the man was trying to like get the custody of the children, but because all 3 children were born in America, they were American citizens, not the UK citizen, and so she got to keep the children. But having said that, eventually the man was trying to like use a system, blah blah blah. The long and short of it was, the lady took the kids. They were twins, one a single birth and a multiple birth. So she took the 3 children. It actually happened in Chester. Sorry, no, is it? Yeah, Chester. Chester, very close to Asda. It happened there, and the woman took the kids. The lady took the kids for dinner, and then when they came back home, bóyá tán gáàsì nìyẹn ni gbogbo wọn bá jó mọ́nú ilé. And of course she got a life sentence, and eventually she pied herself while in prison. I don't want to go deep into that conversation, into that particular case, because it was one of the cases it was a case I had to do an assessment because children were involved. So yeah. Anyway, but I understand that it was much when we're doing I remember when we're doing the assessment of needs. I think it's been a while. I think almost about maybe 10, 11 years now. It was a very, very big case in Scotland at the time. It was very, very big. I think it was shortly after that you had the Shodeep Oduko, what's her name? Adekoya, the 5, the case that happened in 5, where we had, and then that opened up serious case review, because I remember with that American mom, it was after the children pied, she switched on the gas and that offed the children, and it was after the children pied that was when we got to of course, because it was very difficult to get the American system to send us paperwork. There was so much rigmarole around their system. I knew it was such a nightmare, because obviously you have to do like a background check. You have to do a background report on the mom, for going to prison. There had to be background report that has to be done. And I remember very well, we didn't get all the paperwork. By the time we got the paperwork, I think mom was already in prison for like, I think almost 2 years, because it was shortly after that she owned her life herself. Anyway, it turned out it was after we got all of that we then realized that we could have safeguarded those children differently. Those children were never known to social work. We didn't even understand the complexity that was in the household. And it was after she had done what she has done. She had a very good job. I think she used to work in RBS, if I remember. She used to work in RBS, and like I said, I don't want to go into in-depth details because it was a case I was directly involved in. But the point I'm trying to make is information sharing is very complex in America. That I know for a fact. Now, so when I saw this article this morning, and then I then saw the blog, because there's a news blog. So I saw it, and news blog is actually an American news blog. So I saw it, and the first question I asked was, hold on, okay, yes, these kids, they committed the crime they said they committed. Fine, I'm not excusing what they've said they've done, but there's also another angle to the whole thing. The other angle is a child pono, okay? There's that angle to it. And I wonder why the system is so heavy-handed, focusing on what they've done. Like well, obviously, I'm not saying that I don't think, even in the UK, they won't be let away with the crime they've committed. But however, they will take into consideration historical events. So you might be wondering, what do I mean by historical events? Let me read, and I'll code, like the CS, whatever, I'll code those ones. So just give me a minute. Let me open the article and read it out. Okay. So this is actually from New York Post. That was where I saw it. No, they are 20 years old. They're 20 years old. Yeah. So let's read. Twin brother accused of paying man who forced them to strip during English robbery. Twin brothers in Texas were arrested after they allegedly paid two men in November, including one who robbed them at English Point and forced them to naked in 2021. So they are 20-year-old now in 2026. Well, at the time, I don't know their date of birth, but at the time of reporting, they are 20-year-old. So if that happened in 2021, so that means they would have been 15 at the time. Devon Randall, 19, and Isaiah Gonzalez, 20, were pied in separate buying in Fort Worth area of November, on November 15 and November 30. So that's 15 days apart, respectively. The twins arrested for their pie, Samuel and Solomon Gbadebo, both 20, were named as a prime suspect by a mystery tipster, according to search warrant affidavits obtained by Fox 4. The tipster told Fort Worth police that Gonzalo held the twin at English Point and forced them to strip naked during a robbery in 2021. Hey Fumi, good evening. The information said that Samuel and Solomon allegedly pied Gonzalo in what has since been stipulated to be a revenge pie for what they did to them. Obviously, Gonzalo was fatally pied in the park, lot of flips, patio grill where he walked. He was seen in surveillance video leaving the restaurant and getting into a car with his girlfriend around 2 a.m. on November 30, according to the documents. The footage captured two other men who were lingering near the edge of the parking lot, ambushed Gonzalez and pied at him through the window. Gonzalez was critically wounded and pronounced pie at a nearby hospital. While investigating the pie, investigators found a video in Gonzalez's possession that showed two young black men being held at English Point while in nude. Authorities said that they had used facial recognition technology to confirm that the victims in the video were Gbadebo twins, the affidavit said. It's unclear if Gonzalez was ever arrested or charged for the alleged robbery. That's one thing that made me kind of concerned, because it seemed to be known to the system. Randall was pied in the park lot at an apartment complex in Fort Worth in early hours of November 15. He and three other men were allegedly seen busting into parked cars, though authorities never specified what happened. What happened leading to the crime, according to the warrant. Authorities identified a white Nissan Altman seen. Okay, so basically, I think the longer short of the story is very clear what has happened there. So when I saw this, the first thing that came to my head was the guy that was pied on the 30th. That guy obviously has a robbery charge, or is known to the system from what they were saying, because I actually went to that news blog. I decided to read through and see what they were saying, and the truth is, a lot of people were quite empathetic towards the twins. There was a lot of questions around, okay, where nobody is saying what they did is right, but there are also questions around how come the criminal justice system, how come they did not, when they saw the video in the possession of that guy, why did they not follow that up? Was there reporting that was done? Because surely if he had robbed, I don't want to believe it's something that just happened. I mean, he literally got those boys with English to strip. And I know that America, you see, I know the whole English culture in America, where people hold English, is very, to access English is very, very easy in America. They just buy it like they're buying it from, they buy it like they're buying it from the shops. Me, as a person, I'm not a fan of America because of that kind of culture. I'm not saying it's what they do, but I just don't, I think I'm just very skeptical about how, I don't understand how very easily they have access to English. And I just think anybody can have access. And the fact that they can go to the shops, buy it, I don't know if there's background check that is done, I don't know. But my understanding is that it's a very easy access. Getting an English is very, very easy to get. And I don't know if there's background check. Like over here in the United Kingdom, for you to own English, there is checks that is done. You can't just own it for the fun of owning it. Even those who own it, I'm not saying people don't own it. I'm not saying, good evening. I'm not saying people don't own it, but a lot of checks are done, and you must have your license. If you get English and you don't get license, you go explain yourself. Oh, there's background check. Okay. Please educate me, because I don't know. My understanding is, I just don't understand the free for all. And if there's background check, that also leaves me asking questions as well, because there's a lot of English incidents in America. You know, somebody can just wake up one morning and just carry wetin be the name, like the schools that we see. You know those things wey we dey see. Somebody will just wake up one morning just carry English, cock the thing, na so the person go, he go open am to school. I mean, we saw it happen, and I always ask myself, how did they have access like that? If you are a felony, you cannot buy with the guns. You can just get it. Oh right, okay. They claimed self-defense. Oh the thing tire me. Anyway, so for me, I to be honest, that's one thing. As much as I like America from a distance. America, even to go and visit sef, the thing they do they do my body one kind. I just don't like that free food, the way they have free access. I just don't like, personally. I just don't like it. That's one thing I don't like about America. That's apart from, I mean, there are a few other things, but that's their English, the way they have access to English. Yeah. That thing fear me, eh? I remember one time my son was saying to me, he's considering America. If you see the way I need down the beg am, could you marry me gbogbo ara logun e? Na so I did the beg am. Because me, fear goes, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with their system. Anyway, so for the boys, for these Gbadebo boys, I know people were kind of tempted to say, oh, what about their parents? Because even in that blog where I saw it on the blog, and I also saw, I also read it on some. There's actually a Nigerian, I think, with Facebook that carried the story, and people were like, parents, make sure you are home to look after your children. He blah blah blah. He blue, and I was like, okay. As a parent, let's be honest, you cannot be everywhere around your children. Let's get that straight. You can't be everywhere. And I think I did a video on sex certain. Because of social media, there is a lot of pressure on our young people. People have access, people do all sorts of stuff on social media. For instance, like United Kingdom now, for instance, there's a big stuff around social media. We are having to like rethink social media in United Kingdom. And why are we rethinking social media? We've had situation where people are being groomed through social media. Accessing kerewa is very, very easy on social media. People get up to no good. Yes, most children, I mean, in this generation, most people are growing up with social media. But at the same time, there's also that fear around social media as well, where people are having access to like indecent images. They're having access to all sorts of stuff. On social media, they're teaching people how to buy themselves. On social media, they are teaching them, this is what to wear. Even on social media, they teach people how to own a life themselves. On social media, they teach them how to eat, what to eat. If you want to lose weight if you want to lose 30, what do they call it, 30 kg in how many days, they teach them. So a lot of stuff happens on social media. And let us be honest, as parents, you cannot be overly, you can't be everywhere where your children are. You don't want to raise children that are wrapped in cotton wools. Just like parents are having challenges, so are the system, because that's what technology brings. Okay, that's what technology brings. Technology has its own challenges. It's good we are all embracing technology. When Mark Zuckerberg, when he created Facebook was created for interaction, but subsequently things has happened through Facebook. TikTok is another one. I think what's the name? I think Australia has banned the use of social media. up until the age of 16. But of course, most children are growing up in the age of social media. So there is that pressure on social media. That's one. Now, for this guy who took the pictures or who took the video of this twin, there are a lot of questions around it. Why did he take the video? Why did he choose to humiliate them? Who is he to them? Is he known to them? And why did he feel that, okay, of everything, why did he feel the need to strip them? That is straight on person wey he dey obsessed with small pikin body. Okay. So there is that angle, and I'm wondering why the American system, I don't know the criminal justice system in America, but I'm wondering why the American system is not taking that into consideration, because this, I don't know who the other guy is to them. That's the other one that they went ahead and unalived on the 30th. But the one that they unalived on the 15th, the one they unalived on the 15th is obviously known to them. But the one that they also unalived on the 30th is known to them. And for me, maybe the kind of job I do, I immediately had my professional hat on. And the question I was asking is, what is linking both of them together? Who are they to these young boys? What did they do to them? At least the other one we have already established that one, he wanted to steal from at the point of robbery, of everything you could do. Why are you interested in their noodles? Why are you so interested in noodles of the young boys? That's the height of humiliation. So why did you choose to do that? And he didn't just do the video, he actually kept it. I don't think it's just gang. No, I think they were 15. For me, I think they were 15 when it happened. I don't think it's just down to gangs. I don't think it's a gang thing. I think there is more to it. Maybe I suppose maybe the professional person in me, because that's what we call hey Aisha, how are you? That's what we call what's it called? Harmful kerewa behavior. I don't understand why. Okay, I don't understand why. I'm trying to get my head around it. Of everything, why did he choose to strip them? Is that, and if it's known, it's not even a case that he just did it and filmed them and that was it. He kept it. So that was 5 years later. He still kept it. So what did he keep it for? Is he using it to masty? You understand? I don't know if you see where I'm coming from. No. Maidens, I don't think you're getting what I'm saying. See, it's a different ball game if he strips them, did the video, and then dispose the video. But this particular one, exactly brand new food. That's what I'm saying. There is something about that video that is straight on child porno. That's what he has done. Okay, he is not alive for him to be sued or for him to be this thing, but the thing is, the fact that he had it on, that he had it in his video or in his phone, because they found the record of it in his phone, and they were also able to use face recognition. I'm not saying those boys, these young men, I'm not saying they shouldn't be punished for what they've done, but what I'm wondering is that video, what did the person that had it in his possession, because that's not something, I don't know. Yes, I know they are weird people. That's what I'm getting at. So what did he keep it for? And what is his relationship like? What was his sexuality? Is he known to the system? I mean, now the guy is gone. But okay, fine. Like, the way I look at it is, even if these guys go down for what they've done, which to an extent they will, even in the UK they will go down. There's no excuse. They will definitely go down. But away from the going down, I'm also wondering, what was it about that video? And the police, from the reading the stuff, they didn't say if it was just a one-off video, or is it that this guy collects videos of the other young boys. I guess the professional in me, I'm not able to look past. I don't believe it's a one-off video in his phone. I believe there must be more than just those boys' videos in his phone. And let's even say that he's doing it to humiliate his victims. And what's the purpose? Why, as a man, why do you want to see the nodules of another man? What do you want to use it for? I don't know if you see what I'm saying here. What do you want to use the nodules of another man to do? Of what benefit is that to you? So is this guy known, apart from what they've reported? Obviously, we are just going by what is in the news. Apart from what they've reported, is this guy known to the system for something else? Because it's not just a case that, obviously they said he robbed. So I don't want to believe it's just like a one-off thing. Who goes around having videos of people's nodules? Who goes around doing that? And it was quite cohesive in the way he's done it, whereby they said he did it he held English to them to get it done. So obviously, maybe they had resisted, hence the reason why he has chosen to do that to them. Or is it a thing of color? I don't know. So these boys, when all of that happened, the police is saying that there was never a reporting. Again, I'm quite worried. So is it a case that, please, for those of you who live in America, please, can you kindly call in and educate us, because I don't understand your criminal justice system. So is it a case that this guy commits robbery and they turn the other side? I don't know. Like, it doesn't just make sense to me. Because if he committed robbery, was it never reported? Yeah. Was it never reported? If he committed robbery, is it that they don't not report robbery? I don't want to believe nobody saw anything. I don't want. And then the parents, it doesn't sound right. For me, I was reading the news and I'm just like, this is nothing but system failure. I'm not excusing. I'm not even. I think it's beyond blackmailing. That's what I feel. I think it's just beyond blackmail, because the video, for him to have been able to keep that video in his phone, if I'm being honest, from a professional angle, I don't want to believe that's the only video in his phone. I do not want to believe. But then, the American system, I don't know how your system works. I don't want to believe that video was just an only video in his phone. And okay, let's even say maybe he does it to humiliate. But why would you choose to go to that level to humiliate someone? Exactly. That mom of five, that's another point. But there's some, I don't know, mom of five, I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. There is something about that. There's something about, I don't want to see, when people keep videos like that, I can tell you for free that is not the only video on his phone. No, I didn't say they are black. The twins are black now. They're Nigerians. Is that what you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. The twins are Nigerians. So I'm not entirely sure why he chose to keep those videos. And I don't want to think those videos are the only videos in his phone. But then I'm also wondering, when the police found out that he had the video of those boys dating back as 5 years ago. I think he has more. I personally think he has more. But also, I'm also wondering, when the police found those videos, because that then raises another angle of the case, where there is historical event, there's a historical offense in the case of the guy that died. So I'm wondering, did they go back to did they speak to did they get a specialist police to speak to these boys, to these young men now? Were they spoken to? Did they have the right atmosphere to actually express and disclose what happened? Or is it just a case of the American system is focused on the crime that has been committed now? Because there's quite a lot, there's a lot of twist to this story. Like in the UK, they won't just, yes, don't get me wrong, they would obviously be charged. But because they found the video of them when they were minor, they will need to check, they now need to get like specialist police involved. Because from what has happened, I mean, even the news established it, that what they've done is out of vengeance. So at the time, so obviously they are victims turned perpetrator. That's basically what has happened. Then, I don't know if they were. Well, from the look of things, I don't know, but it doesn't look like they were ever known. Yes, Fumi. My sister. I was reading the story. I'm like, there's a lot that is not the thing. It doesn't sound right. There's quite a lot of story. There's quite a lot to this story, and I don't just think it's just a case of the spy person. There is a whole lot more to just the boys spy people. Then I also want to correct. Something. I was on Auntie Aduni's show briefly. Just I think I called in not realizing that she was on the show, and I think subsequently I heard some parents say some things, and I want to correct us. You see, as Africans, please, let's be very mindful of the kind of information we share, of the misinformation that we share. Now, one thing I would tell us for free, somebody was talking about foster carer. Now, the Western system does not benefit, there is no financial benefits to children being taken into care. Please, let's educate ourselves as Africans. The Western system, I can tell you that for free, is very expensive to have a child in care. For a child to be taken into foster care is very, very expensive. Okay? Research has said it over. And I know this is not the first time I hear things like that. I have heard it. There's a lot of ignorance that we share in our community. And there's a lot of misinformation that we share. People will say, in the Western country, I think somebody was talking about the law that when the children come to this country, they tell them, at school they are teaching them about their rights. And I think his sister, a lady, I'm guessing, did call in to say something to do with her rights or something. I didn't really make it out because I was driving. Now, one thing I want to say very clearly. Yes, they teach the children their rights and responsibilities. But the focus is not for them to get their parents into trouble. Please, let's clarify that. Because what we end up doing is, I have seen this over and over again in my years of practice, where Africans, we misinform ourselves. And then when we are caught up in the system, we take that misinformation to engage with the system. Okay. Now, sorry, that mom of five, I'm going to refer back to you. I remember the first time I came across that mom of five's video. She was talking about her experience with social service. It's actually on her, it's actually on her channel. She was talking about her experience. One thing that stood out in that thing was she was very, very clear that yes, something happened. And she was also very, very clear, and she was very honest in the way she engaged with the system. Yes, when a child is placed, when there's a risk to the child, or when the safety of a child is compromised, okay, it is only natural that the system, we call it corporate parents, okay. The corporate parents are social workers. Okay, brand new food. Let me explain myself. Just calm down. Corporate parents are social workers, police, teachers, and health professionals. Okay, everybody who responds to families, they are known as what we call corporate parents. Okay, now, when the safety of a child is compromised, one thing I can tell you, I don't know of other country, but in the United Kingdom, social worker does not have the power. They don't have any legal power to remove a child from the house. Okay, now for a child to be removed from your care as a parent, we need social work need to seek the consent of the court. It needs to be sold. However, there are two ways that a child can be removed. A child can be removed voluntarily. So maybe, like in Scotland now, for instance, physical chastisement is actually a crime. Is a very, very serious crime. Okay. Now, when there's physical chastisement and a child is disclosing physical chastisement, now one thing is very, very, I will tell you this for free. They don't just suddenly say, no, your children cannot go back home to you. That's not how it works. There must have been something that has happened. Okay? So when a child discloses, they don't just go up and say, because we know that children can be mischievous. Okay? But the fact that a child comes and says, my mommy beats me, my daddy beats me, it's not just straight on, the child cannot go home. No. There's more to that. They would have asked questions. And of course, by asking questions, they would drill and stuff like that. There's a way they ask the questions. We call it schemed interview. Now, if that child makes a disclosure, because maybe obviously if the child is staying with mom and dad, the first thing to do is we establish who is the parent, who is the child making a disclosure about. Is he making a disclosure about mom, or is he making a disclosure about mom and dad? Now, if it's mom and dad, children they will not be fit. Both parents will not be considered. However, they will ask both parents, do you have any friend or family that can care for the children? And the reason why they are doing that is strictly just to investigate. Okay, they just want to investigate because a child has made a disclosure, so they need to investigate. So by investigating, the investigation, for all you care, sometimes it depends on how everybody works with the system. Sometimes the investigation only lasts about maybe a week or two, sometimes even less than that. Okay, and the moment the child is separated from the parent, they're not just saying, separate. They're making observation, they're making assessments. If the child is up to no good, it's very obvious. It will become very obvious. Now, why they are doing that assessment, they're also paying attention to parents. Depending on please, I will recommend that you guys go and watch that Mom of Five. Please, Mom of Five, please, hope you don't mind. Please go on her channel and watch her experience. She actually detailed her experience. She did her experience there. Yes, things do happen, but it's not, we can tell. When children go to school, we know the children that are neglected. We know the ones that are cared for. It's not just because your child made a disclosure. That's why something has happened. We can tell, because when your child goes into school, they know from the way your child presents. They're not just looking at your child from, oh, my child is in school. They are paying attention to how the child fits. When you come to pick your children, the interaction, there's all sorts of stuff that they look at there. Okay? So at the end of the day, I can tell you for free, the only time a child will be considered being put in a foster care is if there is no member of the family, if there's no friends or family that can care for the children. And the truth is, in our African community, a lot of times we don't like to step out. When a parent is in trouble with social service, we all take a step back. That is the reason why most times the children end up in foster care. Because there's that fear. I don't know where people get that fear from. Again, it's down to misinformation. I don't want social service in my life. They are going to be asking me questions. If you have nothing to hide, there's no reason why you can't be a kingship carer for your friend who is having problem with social service. It's even easier when you are a kingship carer, in the sense that, yes, you don't get paid, but it's easier. Hey, Dupsy, how are you? It's even easier when your friend helps you, when your friend steps in as a kingship carer, because that even allows the assessment to move faster. Because for the angle of social service, they can actually assess contact. What are you doing? How are you communicating with your children? It's so easy to assess. But our people, we have a lot in our community. We have a lot of misinformation. It's like when they say a child is placed on child protection, you will hear, a child is placed on child protection. That name will never live there. We have, I don't know why we enjoy misleading ourselves. Really? That mom, if I reach out to me, let's talk. We have a lot of misinformation. But having said that, like every other career, we have good social workers and bad social workers. Let's be honest. Just like we have good nurses and bad nurses, good doctors and bad doctors, things like that. Okay? Mom of 5, if they are still doing that to your daughter, you have a right. If your daughter, I don't know the age of your daughter, but your daughter can actually say to them to back off her, because there's no reason why they should keep why they should keep doing that, except if your daughter is making additional disclosure. Exactly. She just turned December. Okay, reach out to me and then we can talk. Yeah, we can talk behind the scene and I can understand what's going on. Now, we have a lot of misinformation. Now, when it comes to foster care, I don't know where our people get this story. Although saying that to Caucasians to say it, I have, in short, if I for every time I hear social workers make money by taking kids into care, for every time I hear that, if I have to be collecting a penny, I will be a billionaire by now. Social workers will not get money for removing children. I can tell you that for free. And even the foster care itself. Yes, children go into foster care. Foster care is a last result. As a matter of fact, like I said, it's very, very expensive for children to be placed in foster care. It's actually cheaper for children to be placed with their parents, to remain in their house. And there's a lot of research that said that. Okay? it's much more, it's financially whatever, for children to stay with their parents and their families. Like in Scotland, we have what we call the promise. Okay, I can tell you for free, when social work gets involved in your life, they are not there to take your children. As a matter of fact, in Scotland, at least in the United Kingdom, social work is the last person who gets involved. So when there is concerns raised, usually school, most times it happens from school or from health visitor and co like that. Okay, now when for social work to be involved in your life as a parent or in the life of your children, when social work gets called into the scene, it means they've tried every other thing, and as parents you have not engaged, or there's concerns with regard, maybe you have like disguised engagements. Then social work steps in, and of course, unfortunately, social work does not step in for early intervention. We step in when there is concerns, because it's a statutory role. We step in when there is concerns. So it's very, very important. And yes, I know that there are people who have had bad experience in fostering. We've also had very good experiences in fostering. Okay, but irrespective, research over and over the year has proved, and these are things that are written on, they are all online, they are things that you can access online. Research has shown that children thrive better research has shown that children thrive better when they are with their families. Okay, that's what research shows. So please don't let us miss. Then when they are telling you, like those of you who have your kids abroad, when you guys are saying sorry, somebody sent me a message, I'm being distracted now. Okay, sorry. Those of you that have your kids abroad, when they say your children have rights, they are not just talking to your children alone. It's just important that your children know their rights. Just like you teach your children, these are my body parts, do not touch them, do not do this. It's important that your children know their right, because if they are ever in danger, it actually works in your favor. If your children are ever in danger, they know who to reach out to. Sometimes children are not comfortable speaking to their parents, and personally, apart from being a professional, let me speak from the heart of a professional. Being a professional, when we are engaging with children and the children do not see home as a safe place, that raises a lot of questions. It raises a lot of red flags, because every child, the home of every child should be their safe space. Children's first point of contact ought to be their caregiver, which is their parents. And that is how we know when something is going wrong. When you see a child who becomes overly relaxed around other adults, that there's no boundary, that raises a lot of questions. And of course, as parents too, a lot of parents, I know we all have to work. I know we all need to get money in order to be able to care for our kids. But obviously, if you refuse to care for your children, the state will help you care for your children. A lot of us raise our kids here. I am an African mother to the core. I can tell you that for free. We raised our children here. It's not easy. Okay? But we are lucky. It's all about you being intentional. I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent. Trust me, I was never. Okay? I remembered at a point, me and my son were like night and day. Because I was always, I don't like showing my emotions. As a parent, you don't want your children to know what you're going through, blah, 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 blah. And instead of me, maybe I don't want to, not maybe, I didn't want to show him. And sometimes I will lash out, apart from the fact that my job is quite stressful. I will lash out, little things. I will pick up on little things and stuff like that. And I almost lost my son, but I'm just lucky that I have a very wonderful child. I didn't realize what I was doing. I almost lost him because, I wasn't able to control my emotions. And funny enough, I don't do that to any other person. But, I would lash out at him and stuff like that. And very quickly, I noticed how distant we were. So what I learned to do, I had to take a step back because it was always like heated argument. And I thought, hold on a minute, what was the meaning of this? So I had to eat an humble pie. I went to him. At a point, my son had to move away from home. He started living with his friend. I mean, not permanently, but like the home was not a safe space. So I had to call him. And we trashed it out. Yes, we had very difficult conversation. We trashed out, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, okay, you too, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. We talked it out. We figured it out. It wasn't easy. We talked it out, and both of us promised ourselves that will never repeat itself. Yes, we will argue, but it has to be healthy. It's not for us to argue and, give up on ourselves. And that was something I was very, very conscious of it. I was very, very conscious, and since then, we're able to flip things back. So it's not all perfect. It was not all rosy. And I get it. Some parents will say, I'm a single parent. It's not easy. He, she. Yes, I get it. So, as single parent, it's just you bringing in the income. You are working so hard bringing the income in. You are having to your finances. Sometimes your finances are just not what it is. It's very, very hard. Sometimes you look at your bank account and you're like, what is this? What is this all about? And it can be very, very depressing. And I can tell you, I've been there. As a parent, as a single parent, it wasn't easy. But you know what? In the midst of it not being easy, okay, why are you doing all the stress for? It's not for your children. Let's learn to talk to our kids. Let's have those healthy conversations. Let's make the home front a safe space for our children. For these boys now, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, my heart goes out to their parents. If they both have parents, my heart goes out to their parents. Because I'm just trying to picture what's going on in the head of their parents. And it's even going to be more whatever. Say for instance, maybe the mom is a single mom. There's that stigma of, I failed. As a parent, I failed. What did I do wrong? Why did I not do? That kind of. There's so much. I'm sure there's a lot going on the head of the parents. I saw people say, they have tattoo, they do this. Look, there's someone who has tattoo. Me, I'm not a fan of tattoo. But that someone has tattoo does not mean that child is a bad child. But the question is, was the home front safe enough for that child, for those boys? And for the ones that their kids spied, that's a big loss. These boys will probably do their jail term and they'll come back home. But the other boys, they're never going to be able to come back home again. They are gone and gone for good. But I just wonder, with the American system, what is the criminal justice system? What's it like? Are they going to take into consideration that those boys were victims themselves? And it could even become more whatever if they find that it's all premeditated events. Because it's 15 days apart between the two boys, between the two guys that they pied. Are these two guys, are they linked to them? What is it about them? What did they do that these twins held this so dearly and they feel the only solution to it, is to go and pie these guys. In my own opinion, if I would say, I mean, I don't know how the American justice system behave, how they turn around, but if I was to say, I would say the American justice system, I don't think it's fair. I don't think their system will be a fair system if they don't take into consideration the experience, the traumatic experience, because there's trauma there. The traumatic experience of those boys when they were teenagers. The stuff that happened to them when they were teenagers. I don't know if the American system is going to take into consideration. Hopefully they have a very good lawyer, or is it solicitor or lawyer or barrister, whatever they call it in America. If they have a good solicitor, a psychologist would do good, because even locking them up doesn't solve their problem. Somebody taking their noodles, somebody having the video, like that alone is even enough to trigger another kind of thing, that somebody has had their noodles non-stop for 5 years. What does that mean for them? As parents, I know the African community, we're very good in being judgmental. They no raise those children well. It's not. Oh, okay. Wow. Because it's very easy to stand behind the fence and be saying, those parents did not raise their children well. And it's not easy. Being a parent is not for the faint-hearted. And also, our African community is this. One thing I've noticed also is that, when we go into careers, we don't go into careers that help. We go into career for, and that's one thing I always say, that when our people are going into career, they are going into career for there is money there. I don't know if we have. I mean, here in the UK, I don't really think we have very good criminal justice lawyers who are blacks. That I can say. At least not in Scotland. I don't know of any in Scotland, to be honest. I don't think we have any good. I don't know. Most blacks that I know, most blacks who practice law, they are usually immigration. They are into immigration and property. You hear them. I'm an immigration lawyer and property investment. I've been awaiting. They say they are doing. You don't see them in the likes of bankruptcy. Africans go through bankruptcy. You don't see insolvent lawyers. You don't even see insolvent accountants. And that can save our people a lot of stuff. And that's the thing. That's the difference between us at our Asians. Every corner you turn, they have people within their community. They have professionals within their community who can meet every area of their needs. It doesn't matter where it is. Share insolvency in it, they have people there. Is it criminal law? They have people there. Don't let us just all be focusing on there is money. Even social work, and so there are we don't have Africans. We don't have a lot of Africans or a lot of blacks who are at the forefront of these areas of social work that is impacting our lives. Everybody wants to make money. And most times, I hate to say, but the truth is, most times we are all driven by this one money day here. We're not even looking at the bigger picture. Do we have lawyers who understand adoptions? Do we have lawyers who understand the civil law? That when you have social work concerns, they can respond. I know there's a particular case here in Scotland. That case is still ongoing. I'm so I am really going off my head that we don't have an African lawyer, because there's a lot of cultural incompetence around that particular local authority. But unfortunately, There is no African lawyer whatsoever on the soil of Scotland, not even in England. Of course, but even in Scotland, let me talk of Scotland because our laws are different. There is no single African lawyer on the soil of Scotland. And I can tell you, if that case goes the way I'm thinking it will go, that is going to be a game changer. If that local authority gets away with what they are doing with that family, trust me, a lot of other families will become victims. That one I can tell you for free. You are enjoying insolvency. So the insolvency is about bankruptcy. There are a lot of Africans who go into bankruptcy or who are forced into bankruptcy, and they do not have a insolvent accountant or lawyers who are specialized. You know, there are a lot of areas of specialties. They do not have people who are specialized within their community, within our community, who can help them understand the process. Honestly, and Asians, they don't see. Oma kò síbi tẹ́ ẹ wọ̀, àwọn Asian yan ẹ máa rí wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Even in social work, ibi tẹ́ ti ń ṣe assessment, ibi tẹ́ child protection kìnìkan ẹ ti máa gbọ́ mi ìgbóyìnbó. Before you know wetin dey happen, translator ó máa ọ̀tọ̀ ni you say good morning, translator máa ní conversation lọ. Ìgbà tí wọ́n bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ wá ní he said okay. Báwo ni he said okay ṣe di 5 minutes conversation? Honestly, how did they talk for this thing? They say, you know, you see, we don't have professionals in the areas where we are, and that's why our people, you see, the problem is we are very hard to reach. And the reason why we are hard to reach is because the same behavior we get for Africa, bam 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 nimoyo, that greed is all about greed. You want to make money for yourself and yourself alone. Even when we go into real estate business, when we do realtor, I mean, what they call them, when you do realtor, is how to exploit ourselves that we are looking at. Is how to that Momo 5. You see that translator thing? I'm not a fan of them. I can tell you, I'm not a fan of that translator thing at all, because they've done more harm. Some of them have done more harm than good. But the core of the matter is, you know, that the areas where we really need our people. Irugba tó ń ṣe FGM. Irugba tó ń ṣe case FGM. Come and say our people don't understand. All these immigration, they don't understand. They will be telling them, oh yeah, elota duro, go and shop aduro. They don't know that they're using them to gather data. That's another wahala on its own. And it's because we don't understand the system. Hey Musa, how are you? It's because we don't understand the system. Like these guys now, you know, when I looked at the case, for me, I can see the case is divided into so many ways. There is historical concern. There is historical crime there, because that was committed to them when they were children, when they were young, they were minors. I don't know, you know. I mean, I don't know. Most of our lawyers, where we get, they are either realtors or they are immigration guys. Do we actually have African lawyers? Do we have African lawyers who actually understand the criminal justice system in Texas? I doubt it. Because even here in the UK here, all of them, I remember there was one lawyer that claimed to understand child protection and everything. The lawyer even made things worse. He made things worse for that family, because he read back to back book. He didn't even understand the ins and outs. He didn't understand. Local authority had to say to the lawyer, he said, are you sure he had to ask the parents, are you sure this lawyer is trained? That was how embarrassing it was. I'm sure the parents can go and get a psychologist, because what you need is a criminal psychologist. You get a psychologist that actually understand the history around this. So I'm just wondering, because there is historical, and I can't get my head around it. So after seeing that video, they still went ahead and charged them, because they are literally I mean, of course, I'm not saying they shouldn't be charged, but there is definitely the fact that they found the video of them when they were younger. That is a twist to that story. But like Fumi and I are thinking, I think there's more to the story than just I think there's more to the story than just these guys did what they did. That's what I feel anyway. There's more to the story, and well, hopefully they put it out there. We'll see. I would actually love to see the transcript of their indictments, because it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right at all. They whatever they're doing, and I can't just blame their parents, because we're not there. We don't know. It's very easy for us to sit at the other side of the fence and say, good parenting. This is, as African community, in my own opinion, this is the time to rally around rally around their parents. And not just rally around them is, it is well. It is not about praying it is well. There's nothing like it is well here. It's about getting professionals, experienced professionals, to engage with the criminal justice system on behalf of these guys. I'm very sure some people will gather now. Mommy, let us be praying. Daddy, let us be praying. No, it's not time to pray. It's time to actually engage the right, a well seasoned, experienced professional. In this type of case, you need a psychologist to help understand, because the psychologist will help unpick, what did that, okay, when these boys were under that English point where the guy got them to strip, what was going through their head? For all you care, these guys have been mapping this guy for years. For 5 solid years, they've been mapping him. What was going through their head? How did they plan what they planned? If people around them allow the system to provide a professional, because obviously the system will be the one persecuting them. Those guys, I think there's even a capital punishment, if I understand it, because that's what they do in America, abi. Anybody wake by person, they pay him. They put on for leather, they pay him, abi. Don't be so that they do for America. But this is avoidable if they can get seasoned professionals, because you need experienced professionals to engage the criminal justice system. I am very, very sure their case is not a one-off case in America. You need a professional who understands the criminal justice, who can make reference to cases that are linked like this. There are so many cases that most likely are linked like this. And do they have the money? That's one. But also the African community, like I said, the African community can, and that was why I was talking about the Asian and the Jewish community. I remember a particular case. I don't want to be specific because it's a case I worked on. I remember a particular case here in Scotland, and the case was not looking good at all. But the community came together. That particular community, they came together. Trust me. They came together. They pulled their best brains to challenge the system, and that's why tomorrow, when we are responding to that specific community, we have to respond differently. But the African community, na tear him down scenario now we get. You know, anything, it is well. The Lord Almighty will see you through. No, this is not the time for the Lord Almighty to be seeing anybody through. This is a time for us to, for as a community, the Nigerian community in Texas. I don't know whether they engage with the community or not, because if the criminal justice system gets away with what, I mean, if they don't take into consideration the experience that these guys had when they were young, you know, like what the guy did to them when they were young, if they don't take that into consideration, yes, they might go down, but is that actually resolved? Yes, now you are talking. By Dupsy, now you are talking. You know, but the problem is our community. It is where there is money. We don't do career, we no get money. When you see people, I know people when they say, I want to do social work. Why you want? Money dey there. I want to do immigration. Money dey there. You know, we are driven by money. We are not driven by passion. Look at in the United Kingdom, when they were talking about scarf, you know those face scarf, say it's buka they call it, the Muslim scarf and everything. The Asian community were targeted. You know what they did? As of 2012, they were targeted. You know what they did? They brought their best brains in and pushed them forward into politics. That's why you see their faces all over politics. But in our community, you will see our Africans, the few Africans who say they want to do politics, you'll be hearing, I'm going to make, you see, I have connection within the community. And I don't even know what you to talk. We don't do things for the right reason. We just don't do things for the right reason. No, that's not true, Wena. We have Africans who can do divorce now. We have Africans who can do divorce and employment law. We have Africans. It's not that there are not a lot of them, but we do. We definitely do. We have Africans who can do divorce law. It's not that it's not a lot of them. There are very few of them. There are very, very few of them. And they work within the family law system. We have them within the family law, but it's not a lot of them. We don't have a lot. We have more Africans in immigration. And the reason why we don't have a lot of Africans, like in the divorce, in the family law, the reason why we don't have a lot of Africans there is because when Africans want to do divorce, they only do the first stage of divorce. They don't like to do the detailed divorce where you do asset sharing, because divorce is very expensive to do. But our people are just happy to do like the separation angle of it, and that's where it ends. And what you now find out is when they now want to remarry, and then they want to start getting assets with their new partner, that's when the thing comes back to haunt them. So most Africans who do family law, they don't do, of course, unlike immigration, most Africans that do family law, they do it within a big firm. And of course, they will not do like a minimum divorce for you. But our people, we like shortcuts. That's the thing. We like shortcuts because we want to save money. I don't know why we do that, but we want to save. Even immigration that they're talking about. The immigration lawyers, a lot of times, I've seen a lot of cases where immigration lawyer will mislead them. I remember the time of FGM. Go and use FGM to make claim. Go and use domestic abuse to make claim. Okay, they go and do it. But you don't tell them the bigger picture. So, hopefully, if any Africans in Texas, particularly Nigerian community in Texas, if you guys can rally around the parents, what you need is a specialist. You need a psychologist who understands criminal justice, because you need a psychology report. You need a psychology report that you also need the psychology assessment and report. They should those young boys should have access to psychologists. Then when the robbery was done, from what they were reporting, it was never reported to the legal system. It was never reported to the police, or the news was saying they don't think it was ever reported. Now, a good lawyer would challenge that. Why was it never reported? A good lawyer would challenge that. This is not the time to blame parents. This is the time. This is not the time to blame parents. Instead, this is the time for every Nigerian community. Yes, Muse. This is the time for the Nigerian community to come together. Let's all come together. This is the time to come together and let's make a difference. Let's hold hands with this let's hold hands with these parents and get them through their hurdles. I don't think I think they can get a lesser sentence, and I think they can get the original charge against them. I think they can get it dropped to homicide. It's not even I think. If they get a very good lawyer, it can be dropped to homicide, because there's definitely they are premeditated, but there's a reason behind the premeditation. So that is my candid advice. This is not the time. Please don't let us start saying, they have tattoo on their neck, because I saw it in the, where did I even see the blog safe? I saw it there on Facebook. It was a Facebook. Why I saw them, they're like, they get tattoo. Omo buruku ni won, they are bad children. Excuse me. Person get tattoo. Me, I'm not a fan of tattoo. My problem is that Texas, really? Hey. Wow. Oh, shebi Texas. Texas is Maryland, abi? Am I wrong? She Texas in Maryland, because there's a place they say that is all Nigerian. That there's a lot of Africans there. They call it a mini African environment. No, okay. But then I also know that there is me, I also understand that the American system, wọn wà fair tó bá ti jẹ́ dúdú àti funfun, wọn kì í wà fair sí dúdú. So I heard, I don't know how true. Wọn tó bá ti jẹ́ dúdú báyìí àti response wọn ó máa ń yàtọ̀. Kíkẹ́ lọ́mọ, good evening. Hope you had a good day. Wọ́n tó bá ti jẹ́ dúdú wọn máa ń yàtọ̀ síra. But that's what we are saying, that if they get a good lawyer, they won't put it as spy. It can be dropped to homicide. But they need a good lawyer. They need a forensic assessment, because there is definitely something that triggered what they did, and that even in the news, they seem to establish that. And if you go on there's a blog, I saw it. Hold on, let me see. There's a blog I saw. It was actually the American No. When I don't pass all those level, you don't pass all those use a black American reference. You don't pass that. No, there's more to it than that. It has crossed all those border. Is the neighborhood talk. That's where I saw it on Instagram. And interestingly, the neighborhood, you don't pass that stage when now you don't pass am seriously. Hey, positive vibes, how are you? You don't pass that stage seriously. You don't pass am. What they need are professionals who understand the criminal justice system, particularly in this kind of specialized case. You don't pass that level. You don't pass am seriously. So if you go on Instagram, the neighborhood talk is actually an American. I think it's a neighbor. I don't know, but I shall know it looks like it's an American thing, American Instagram page, and a lot of people are actually canvassing. They're actually campaigning for the boys, for them to have a fair hearing. If you go on there, just go on it. A lot of people are canvassing that the boys should have that the two boys should have fair hearing. And they were even talking about the fact that, that, let me read. These two, now two brothers, two Nigerian guys, they kpai two people in the space of 15 days. See, even people are saying it on the blog. They are saying judge got to let this one slide. You see, they are innocent, free them. And these are all Oyibos. Now Oyibos said they campaign for them. Yeah, so Oyinbo are the ones campaigning. They are, honestly, go on that Instagram, you see what they are saying there. There are a lot of people who are actually on the side of the boys, but whether the parents are strong enough to engage, or whether they are financially capable, because this case will be well flawed. It will be a well flawed case if the parents can afford a psychologist and a very, very good lawyer. That's what they need. See, a lot of people are writing stuff there. They're actually in support. A lot of people are actually in support of the twins. They are literally saying, look at what the guy did to them. They are in their favor. But then they are also saying, yes, they have committed a crime, but the system also failed them. Because when the system found out, what did they do when they found those videos? Because it was well established that the video that they were able to use facial recognition to recognize the twins. But then they still went ahead. I'm not saying that they shouldn't lock them up, but they have to take into consideration. See, a lot of people are saying it there. They are saying, honestly, freedom sounds like they need freedom. It sounds like they need mental health services and suffer from PTSD. A lot of people are writing it there, and a lot of people are actually supporting it. Look at it. It says, another one says, who was the tipsters? Because it's crazy that they knew about the video but didn't tip the police officers to that until the guys did what they did. So it seems like they found the videos long before the boys were even able to carry out their see. Yeah. I hope the parents can see this video. They need to get a psychologist, a forensic psychologist at that. They need to get a psychologist to get assessment done, and then get a very, very good lawyer. Like, not just a good lawyer, a lawyer who understands the depth of criminal justice, like who has done specialized cases like this. And I'm sure this is not a one-off case. Imagine twins long. See, look at it. Someone wrote here, and these are all you both go on ton con BPO. Two boys stripped on camera in 2021. Two pied log in 2025. And you still think the news is just reporting what happened? That's not justice, that's timeline maintenance. They didn't arrest anyone when the twins were filmed naked at English Point. Because the sim needed its loop to run its full course, pain, delay, retaliation, feedback, 4 years between humiliation and homicide. But it wasn't random, it was archived. Nobody cared when the twins were victims, because victims don't generate rating, buyers do. So they ran the program again. You see, so people are actually, yes, it's pure system. And that's what I was saying, that's where I'm standing. I'm not even looking at the parents now. This is nothing but system failure. Because okay, the guy, okay, yeah, we agree, say they fight the guy, but the guy commits robbery. They can't say that they don't know that guy's history. So what did they do? And then there was a tipster. There was somebody who gave in to tell them. So basically, like what you call this police spy, who told the police about the video on the guy's phone. So what did the police do then? Look at it. See, people are writing. Honestly, go and read on this thing. It says they couldn't catch the robbers in 3 to 4 years, but they could catch the ones who retaliated couple of months later. Make it make sense. Yeah, I would say so too. Positive vibe. I would say so too. A lot of people are actually, and interestingly, most of them are Oyibos. You know, they are literally in support of the twins, saying, look, you know, they were victims. The system failed them. They were victims. The system failed them. But now that they have retaliated, the system is now ready for them. Wow. We'll see how it goes. We'll follow it up and see how it goes. But this is not. Honestly, the American justice system is just something I don't understand. Because I don't want to believe that guy is just stealing and nobody knew him. I don't want to believe that he wasn't known to the system. I do not want to believe that for 1 second. I believe he was known to the system. Anyway, on that note, I sign out. Please, let's learn to protect our young ones. You know, America fear me, oh. Yeah. America fear me. I know there's no country I'm scared of more like America. I fear them. No be small something. Especially that their freedom of when they carry English up and down. Yeah. I fear that country. I no go like give you. I fear. When I see that country, fear they catch me. Even ordinary stopover for that country sef, you go see na so go dey shake like jellyfish. I'm telling you. Oh, thanks, by Dupsy. I fear. Oh. This is pure. This is nothing but system. So basically, the boys just defended themselves. They were failed by the system. This is not even about parenting. Parenting is even the least of the worries here. They were failed by the system big time. Completely failed by the system. And I don't know how. I mean, well, anyway, let's wait and see. Let's see how things go. Anyway, see you all later in the day tomorrow. We'll come and laugh at some point tomorrow. I won't come laugh. I'll see you all tomorrow. Actually, I can do show in the morning. I'll try and do show first thing in the morning. All right, take care, everyone, and thank you all for watching. Bye.